All right, everybody. I guess everybody's on right now. Thanks for being on the Google Hangout with me and Viral Marketing. Today is going to be a big day because we're talking about expireds. I got my list right here. How to deliver expireds and FSBO scripts without sounding like a salesperson. So we're going to talk about that. You're going to learn how to be more effective. We're going to talk about some techniques and some mistakes a lot of people are making over the phone. Today we're with Viral Marketing. Let me just tell you about Viral for just a second because I use them for myself getting out into the public's eye and what I do for coaching and training. But for you, Viral Marketing is essential for your video blog. So Frank has done a great job with it, so please check that out. And by the end of the day today, or the end of the call today, I want you to understand that I'm going to be doing a power prospecting workshop in 2 places. Let me give you the location so that you can mark them down. If you can make it, please do so. Some of them are private functions that you could attend. You're going to have to call them. I'm going to be in McLean, Virginia, October 6th and 7th, and I'm going to be in Frisco, Texas, October 20th and 21st. So if you're interested in attending a power prospecting workshop or this new program, Power Scripts, coming up, email me at billcrespo@verizon.net. We'll get you set up. Okay? So Frank, listen, thanks for having me on today.
Cool.
And,
thanks, guys.
You know,
I just want to say before you get started, we have this great Q&A app, and the biggest benefit of someone coming on live to this is you can click the Q&A and you can ask Bill questions. Perfect. And it's very interactive. So your name will pop up with the question. We can answer it, and it's pretty cool. So use that app available here on the Hangout if you're watching now.
Yeah, we're high tech, man.
Yeah, super high tech. And you look great, by the way, with your lights. I got to get those lights so I just look sharp like you. Yeah.
You know, guys, if you realize how my behind me looks without lights on, it's incredible. But
yeah, you look the best of any Hangout I've ever seen with how you look. That's great.
You like the mic and everything? Works great. I've had this mic for a long time.
Everyone's really going to enjoy the presentation. It's visually stunning. Okay,
perfect. I can't wait to start. So listen, ready to start?
Yeah, ready to rock.
Okay. So listen, a couple of things that I want to talk about, guys, with this whole thing of guess what? Script. I have my script. So I'm going over some things that are very important. I wrote down one of these things. What are the reasons why some salespeople connect with a prospect much easier than others while using scripts? And Frank, you know what I've noticed is that some people really connect very fast and some people don't connect, and there's got to be something involved in their tonality and certain things that they are doing or not doing. Okay, so I wrote down a couple things that I saw. Can I share those with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so look, number one I said is tonality. The lack of energy in your voice does not make it interesting for someone to talk to you. So if you have the best script in the world, but you sound like you're flatlining in your conversation on the phone, no one's going to listen to you. So again, as I said before, record your voice. You're going to find out if you flatline. And those of you that are analytical, that sound like you're very excited, you're not. So you've got to step it up because you're not that exciting on the phone. Actually, the phone, the instrument of the microphone or the microphone in your phone actually diminishes your tonality. I also wrote down not closing so hard. You have to avoid wanting to close people over the phone. Now, the question from you guys is it my job to close? Yes, it is your job to close. But the consumer has gone to consumer school. They have all the techniques down that you're using on them that make them feel like you're a salesperson. And guess what? How comfortable do you feel in getting closed by a salesperson? Not that comfortable. Like I said before in other little conversations we've had, is that there's still some styles of closing that the consumer just is just resistant. So let's not sound like a salesperson. Let's sound like a consultant, and we're going to go over that in just a little bit. The last thing I wrote down is making the prospect feel as if they are in control is very important. Okay, if you are constantly on control on the call, if you're constantly just wanting to take the call and control it from the start, they feel uncomfortable. You need to let the consumer or the prospect feel like they're in control on the call. The question is, how do we do that? I'm going to talk to you about how to do that. But think about it. You're still in control. We're not saying that you're not in control. You're still in control. So, Frank, does that make sense? Those are three most important things that I think of when I'm wondering why someone is not effective over the phone. And then we're going to talk about the 10 ways of working with expireds and for sub owners. But getting away from sounding so salesman-y is going to be, or salesy, is going to be really important on the call. Any questions come up so far?
No questions here. I got a few for you.
Go ahead.
I just want to recognize that I'm sitting and you're standing.
Oh, yes, right.
And one of the ways to increase your tonality, my stand-up, this is a new office, my stand-up desk isn't here.
Yeah.
And your tonality is really affected by if you're standing. I notice a lot more energy when you stand versus if you sit when you work. So you're at a standing desk, aren't you?
Yeah, actually, you know, I stand all the time. I've been standing for like 15, 20 years, and I don't know how to sit down. It drives my family crazy. But I do have as you get older, you have what I call a butt stool. So in case you lean down, I'd rather not go all the way down because really the desk level is down here. So I have a stool just in case I can just lean on in case my knees get a little shot. But it's amazing how much energy you have in standing up. And by standing up, you also want to move your hands. A lot of times, you know, I'm moving my hands a lot. Why? Because I'm exerting this energy out, and it comes across over the phone. And when I'm talking, so using your hands is very important.
I would think those are the two biggest things to increase your tonality: is standing up and getting your hands involved when you speak, right? It's
so important.
Can you give me an example of like closing hard versus not closing hard? Exactly what that means?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, let me think of something. Well, talking about yourself. Hey, can I tell you why I'm so great and my company is so great? And I want to talk to you about selling you on me on the next appointment I have with you. If you go away from the client, you know, I'm not even sure, Frank, if your home qualifies for my program. That's interesting. What does that do? People go, well, what do you mean my house doesn't qualify? So you're going away from them. The further you go away, the more they come at you. The more you go at them, the more they go away from you.
So give me some of those lines. That's that little takeaway selling, right?
It's a little bit takeaways, reverse selling. So, you know, Mr. Seller, you know, I guess some of the questions in the expired script is, you know, why do you think your home didn't sell? And they're going to tell you, whatever that may be. And, you know, I'd like to talk to you and about what I do that sells lots of homes in the marketplace, but I'm not really sure if your house qualifies for my 21-step program. So is today or tomorrow convenient for me to come by? And they'll go yes or no. They may say we're not ready right now. Well, great, you know. And I'm going to make a point later on, but we're not going to the homes. We're so busy calling on the phone that we don't want to get in our car and take our butt over there to go see them. And then I hear this. Well, Bill, I wasn't invited. You don't have to be invited. You're on your way home from an appointment. You knock on the door. So, Mr. Smith, remember, I just talked to you just yesterday. I just want to say hello, and here's my card.
So you're going. What you mean by closing so hard is you're still asking for the appointment. You're just kind of doing it a different way versus when can we meet? When can we meet? When can we meet?
Thank you. Yeah.
You're still closing.
We're still closing, but we're not obviously
closing. It's like come toward me close.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, you're taking it away, and that's the old takeaway. And so by you not being so obviously closing them, you know, right now I could say something like, you know, we've been really successful selling a lot of homes in your neighborhood, and I want to tell you what I did with my. They want to know that you know about them, and I think sometimes we're so ready to talk about ourselves that we're not listening. Today we talked. One of my clients, we're talking about going down what we call a pain funnel and really finding out the motivation for the person. And so when you get to that level, you have a better understanding. They go, gosh, I want to speak to this guy, Frank, because he sounds a little bit different than the other guys that keep hammering me over the phone. And so all we want is an opportunity for an appointment. You're not going to tell them about your listing presentation over the phone and how great you are. You really want to qualify for motivation and then go to their house and talk about all the key elements. Now, that's a philosophy, and let me just put a disclaimer here. There are agents that are very successful being aggressive over the phone. If it works, guys, hang up, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're having difficulty, we need to develop another technique, and this is the other technique that I've been teaching for a very long time.
That's great, man. So let's say one more thing. So we talked about tonality, standing up,
right,
and I think just using emotion more when you speak.
Right.
Then you have the not closing so hard, and maybe using some of the takeaways, still asking for the appointment, but using some of those takeaway selling techniques, not where you're talking about how great you are, but do you qualify almost?
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And then making them feel in control, I would assume that's by asking great questions on the sales presentation.
And also, I like let's just say this person is interviewing, or they're going to hire someone. By you saying, I want to come over to list your home is aggressive. Saying it a different way, but coming in the back door would be, you know what, I'd like to interview for the job of being your listing agent. The word interview provides in the subconscious of the consumer that they have control. They're going to interview you. That really, I just want to get into their heads and get into the door. So it's a lot has to do with the type of words you're using. You know, we're selling very hard, but I'm still selling hard. I think you made that point, Frank. I'm still selling hard. Instead of coming in the front door here, I'm coming in the back door.
You're just softening it up is what you're doing instead of going right for the jugular.
And it's more effective.
Yeah.
Well, the beauty of this, it is highly effective because the human beings react a certain way all the time. What's interesting, you know, they're gonna. If you're a nice person, they're gonna be nice. If you give them something, in most cases, they're gonna give you something. So you're giving them a good experience on the phone. They want to give you that opportunity to come over to talk to them.
Okay.
Interesting.
And making them feel in control would be by, you know, being softer, asking questions. Anything else for everyone on the number 3?
Yep. So let me go over some specifics on the expireds if I can. Okay.
Sure. Absolutely. Let's keep moving on.
So I wrote down 10 ways of having a more effective call with a for sale owner and expired. And here's a couple things. First of all, I wrote down number 1, Frank, is that you got to be prepared. Okay. You cannot plan to prospect for sales and expireds without having a plan ahead of time. So the day before, that morning, very early, you're preparing for your calls. So you either have the services of Land Voice that you're pulling down your expireds from that actually does all this for you and puts them into a dollar system, or you have some numbers that you acquired from MLS. Either way, you don't do research when you start prospecting.
Research
that could take up a tremendous amount of time. Okay. Now this is controversial. So and people, you know, some of you who've heard me talk before, I'll say this, is that people go, well, gosh, I don't want to call someone who's listed already because that's against the law, or whatever that law is. Okay. So here's your research. You dial the number, you call. Hi, I'm calling about the house for sale. Is it still available? No, it's sold. Thank you. Hang up. There's your research. That's it.
That works.
Okay, that works. But I've seen agents staying there for days and days, hours and hours, making sure that this house is not listed in MLS, and they're not. You're not going to go. I haven't found anybody gone to jail yet. You know, for this type of situation where you've called someone and they're listed. So I just think you do your research. Be very respectful. If someone's listed already, thank you very much, and then move on. So I don't want to even get into. I'll get more into it when I have control of a crowd, but being that I can't see you guys back there, I don't know if I got the listing police out there, whatever. So I'm not going to get into some of the things, the little tips that I will share with you at Power Prospecting. How about that hook?
There you go.
All right. So number 3 is having a pro mindset. What's a pro mindset? A pro mindset is that you're focused. You're not worried about, oh my gosh, there's 3 more zeros at the end of this price, and I already figured out these are mean people. The pro mindset is you're just out there making the calls. You're not worried about the neighborhood. You're not worried about the sale price. You're using your scripts. You're effective, and you're really focused in on the call. Because an amateur mindset will be completely panicked, and I've been there. So I think I'm qualified to teach because I've done all the bad things and made all my mistakes. So a pro mindset thinks differently. That make sense, Frank?
That makes complete sense.
Okay, so the next one I wrote down is focus on the goal. Now, you know, Frank, the goal on the phone is to get the appointment. The goal on the phone is not to have a great conversation with someone and spend 20 minutes. The average agent should be talking to about 5 people over the phone per hour minimum. You know, it'd be great to do more.
From a goal standpoint, it's not really meaning how many dials or attempts you make, it's how many people you actually speak with.
So we want 5.
Actually 5 contacts, 5 people you actually
5 live conversations minimum. Okay. Now that is, to me, that is low. I mean, it'd be great to do at least 10 or 12. Now I know my agents and the people that I'm coaching that have the dialers, they're doing, gosh, 15, 16, 20 contacts in an hour because this thing is just dialing. And I've noticed that. You know, no one's really home anymore, Frank. I mean, there's no good time to prospect. It's not like when we were kids, Dad's home at 5 or 6, and everybody's home. So there's no good time. So the dialer is dialing until it hits someone, and then while you're talking to someone, it's dialing again to hit someone. So it can dial 3 to 4 numbers at one time to find the hits. Mm-hmm. So if you are just dialing and the other thing, let the phone ring 3 times. and you'll really realize how long it takes to let 3 rings dial. You could be doing some other dialing, so the computer system.
Before the dialers, a lot of the top agents would have 2 headsets. They literally have one phone here,
the old days,
one for here.
Yeah, two phones and dial, and 2 headsets and 2 microphones. But if you're going to take expired calling seriously, no doubt about it, get a dialing system, because you're wasting a lot of time listening to the calls, listening to the dials. Okay, so I wrote down here is the goal is the important, not telling them why they're wrong and how good you are on the phone. Okay, not telling them how they're wrong, because how do you establish a relationship with someone if automatically when you first start off you're telling them why their method of doing whatever they decide to do is wrong? It's not going to lend itself to a great relationship. So what I'd like for you to do is to just listen to what they have to say. And if they give you something that does not sound right to you, take a note down and address it later, but let's not attack them right away. Let them talk. The client, or the suspect, I should say, should be talking at least 70-80% of the time. You should be talking 20 or 30% of the time. If you find it reverse, then guess who's in control? They are. I wrote down also, preview the clients. The expired tends to say, you know what, we're so fed up with listing with Joe Blow agent from the other company, we don't know what we're going to do, we're going to take it off the market for a while. Here's a script for that. And I haven't wrote this down, so I have it memorized. I just say, you know, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, or whatever your name is, hey, I could totally understand that you want to take it off in the market for a while. Let me ask you this. If I get a phone call of someone interested in your neighborhood, would you be offended if I gave you a call? Very simple. See, they're trying to put you off. They're trying to say, call me later. And I want to be in the door before the other agent does, because to believe that no other agent's attacking this lead, you know, is crazy. So they're going to say, yeah, please, call us. Well, first of all, when they say that, I know they're motivated, Frank. Second, now I'm going to say real quickly, so great. So that I know more about your property and understand the features and benefits of your home, is today or tomorrow convenient for me to stop by just for 15 or 20 minutes?
Great.
Okay. All right? Because what we will end up doing is that gap of time between the time that they just said, well, we're going to wait, and that could be a month later, all these agents have gone to the house. Maybe. Let's say they don't. That's even better, because you're the only one they've seen physically. They already hate that other last agent. So now you've gone in and had that relationship with them face to face. You've got to see the people. You got to get out of the office, get in the car, and even if you can't get a hold of these expireds over the phone, you should visit them. Got to get out. Okay? So we want to set up that's called a preview, expired preview. The FSBOs, guys, you can call them and call them. I've done them both. I've done them till I was blue in the face calling them, and then I decided one day when I went to a seminar years ago, gosh, this is probably 25 years ago, this guy stands up at a breakout session and says, you know what, I do previews for sale by owners. And I go, what's a preview? Well, I will call them up, and I'm going to ask if I can come by and see the property to preview it. And they're either going to say yes or no. If they say yes, I'm going to go by there. Now, if they say to me, do I have a buyer, I'm going to say, I don't have a buyer right now, but I do work for a company that has lots of buyers coming in. Is today or tomorrow convenient for me to come by? And they go, well, come by tomorrow. Great. So when I go by the house, I am demonstrating my professionalism, my knowledge of the marketplace, and I'm still not closing very hard. But this guy that I listened to years ago got the listing on the first attempt going out to the preview. And I went, wow, that's kind of cool. I've been going out just seeing houses. I never really thought I can get the listing. As soon as I changed my mindset, I got listings on the preview. Great. But if it doesn't happen, Frank, you still need to have the patience. And I wrote down too, and that one of the key elements of working with for sale by owners is having patience, because everybody wants it right now. I hear it all the time. Bill, they didn't list with me. Well, let me give you a plan for the for sale by owners real quick. Get a whiteboard in your office, somewhere up on your wall, list 1 through 20. Okay? And then you're going to see 20 for sale by owners in 30 days. 20. And in that, you're going to put their name, address, the date that you saw them, and how much the property is worth. Okay? Your goal at the end of the month is to list 20 of these, or gone to see them and done a preview with them. Out of that 20, a couple of them are going to sell. A couple of them are going to get off the market. Some of them are going to be listing with someone else, and out of those 20, you'll probably get 3 to 4 listings if you stay with them. We know that 85% of for sale by owners in most cases will list in 90 days. So I'll play those odds. First of all, it's amazing what you do when you're broke. So if you need the money and you really want to get good at for sale by owners, you need to be in one house every day, at least, for whatever it is, whether it's a for sale by owner preview or a listing that you're going to take. I like to say that you're going to go to 2 previews or one listing appointment or buyer appointment per day between now and the end of the year. Can you imagine if they did that?
No,
their business would just
make a lot of money.
It will go through the roof. Okay, so let me get back to my notes. So when you're at a preview, anytime you're previewing a piece of property, the one thing I want to make sure that you don't say that you have a buyer, because a lot of agents do this. You know, I have a buyer that may like your house. Can I come over? Well, guess what happens? When you go to the house and now you're going to talk to them about listing their house, they're going to think it's a bait and switch, and that doesn't work really well with most people. So I just never tell them I have a buyer. Unless you do have a buyer, you can say that. But if you don't, please don't, because you're just setting yourself up for some friction at the house. They go, well, I thought you're coming here to see my house because you have a buyer. Sorry, I lied to you. I just want to get the listing. That's not a good script. So
yeah, don't use that.
Yeah, don't use that. So what I would like for you to do is to go into the home and be prepared. So if you're going to any preview, you've done a brief CMA, you know, like a one-liner CMA, you know a little bit about the house, you know a little bit about the neighborhood comps, and you have an idea if this house is worth whatever price they've set on the house. So now you're going to the house. You're driving up. Remember that they're watching you. As soon as you get out of the car, you guys, you know, you'll be amazed what some people do getting out of their cars. They're watching you. So you're actually demonstrating who you are professionalism-wise as soon as you walk out of that car. So you get out of the car, you're kind of looking at the property from your car because you're not ready. You kind of look interested whether you like it or not, and you're kind of looking around and going, great, and you get your stuff together and you're walking up to the door. You're going there to demonstrate who you are. Remember, years ago when I sold Croy lettering machines, this is years ago, we had to demo the product. Well, guess what the product is? You. So you have to demo you. How do you demo you? Well, 3 things that the consumer, through influence research, has found that they're subconsciously, they want to find out whether this guy's honest or this lady's honest. Can I trust her? And is she an expert? And that's all happening subconsciously. Mm-hmm. So if I get to go dressed up professionally to the house, respectful, I'm on time, I let them show me the house, and I ask them a couple questions in the house. I have some demonstration of my expertise. So let's say I have a piece of paper here that says, you know, gosh, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, looks like there's about, 45 houses in your price range that are competing with the same price. Did you know that in your neighborhood? They go, no, yeah, look at it. And so just doing that lets them know what, Frank? That you've done your homework. So we're demonstrating our expertise. If we over-rapport with someone at the home, over-rapport, meaning you moved in, you love their dog, you love their cat, you love them, and you hug everybody, and you just want to talk about everything but real estate because you're nervous, you have lost influence with the person at the house. Think about it. Frank, if you went to the doctor's office and someone was over-reporting with you, the doctor, you'd be running out of that operatory real quick.
Not of my personality type. I want the results in 5 minutes. Yeah. One more thing for what it's worth is not only having the CMAs, but also printing off your entire database of buyer leads you've acquired over the years. Oh yeah. People walk in with this giant spreadsheet of all my unconverted leads, website opt-ins, whatever. Yeah, right. And say, well, here's all these buyer leads. I'm going to try to see if I can get this house out to them or whatever.
Yeah. Here's another thing that you can do, guys. When you go to for sale by owner, is say, you know what, I appreciate you have a lovely house here. So typically, what I do when I list a house, I go door to door just to let people know about it. I'm gonna tell you what, when I leave your house, I'm going to go 10 doors to the left, 10 doors to the right, let people know about your house. Maybe I can find a buyer. Okay. So think about that. All of a sudden, you've gone to the house. They go, this guy's sharp. This lady's sharp. Go 10 doors knocking to the left and 10 doors knocking to the right. First of all, the word's going to get out in the neighborhood that this agent is out there looking for a buyer for your home, and he's not even listing the house yet. That demonstrates your aggressiveness. First of all, you may find a lead for yourself, and you could add people to your database. Just a thought. Now, here's the hard part about that. You're going to have to work harder. than what we're doing right now. Between now and the end of the year, if you're not at that point where you feel a little bit stressed and overwhelmed, you're not working hard enough. And if you look at your wallet and it's not thick enough, and you still don't have enough month at the end of the bills, then you got to step it up. Get those 20 names up on the board. See 20 for sub owners or expireds in 30 days.
Bill, when you preview, we have a question. When you preview, do you take the presentation?
Oh, good question. Be prepared to get the listing, but you should have a couple of pre-listing packages on you in case they're ready to talk, because you'd be amazed. I've screwed up, I can't tell you how many times in the beginning, where I've gone to the house and they go, today's your lucky day. I'm just previewing. And the guy says, well, I go, what do you mean? We decided we're going to list with the first guy that comes to our house, and you're the guy. And I didn't have a listing agreement ready. I had to go to my car and piece things together. So be prepared to have your listing contracts, everything ready, all your comps ready, just in case. Now, there's a thin line here, though, Frank. I don't want to push them yet. I do want them to and the question, I wrote down the question, if it makes financial sense, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, to move your time frame up, would you consider it? There's a script. If it makes financial sense to move your time frame up. So they'll say, listen, we're not going to be ready for interviewing for another 2 or 3 weeks. Well, let me ask you this. If it made financial sense to move your time frame up, would you consider it? And they go, well, yeah. Well, gosh, that's perfect, because I'd like to talk to on what I do that sells lots of homes in this marketplace.
That seems like a delicate ballet.
Yeah, is it? It is a delicate, and this is all an art form, Frank. It's not so structured as people think. And I talk about freestyling. You know, when you're surfing, you know, you got the freestyling going on, or you're skiing or freestyling. Or in sales,
all the time surfing. Yes.
Yeah. So when you're doing sales, how good are you at freestyling? Not doom, because people go, this guy's a robot. But if you're able to,
it's like an improv style. It is an art.
It's an art form, and it really, guys, that's the exciting part about sales, that you're never flustered. And believe me, you may feel extremely nervous inside, but it doesn't come out here. But you know where to take them. Now you know that you've connected with the people. Mm-hmm. And it's important that you're ready to take the listing when you're there. Now, let's just say they want to book an appointment with you later on. That's when you leave your pre-listing package with you. In my opinion, and this is the way I was coached for many years, is that you don't use the pre-listing package as a marketing tool per se. It's when you have a bona fide listing appointment. That's different. It's not something you distribute. This is your calling card. When someone's ready to talk to you about hiring you, that's when you give the pre-listing package out. Some of us are giving them out too fast. Well, you just shot your big ammunition. Now you have nothing left to come back to.
So do not leave the pre-listing kit at the preview.
Unless they're ready to book appointment.
Okay.
Once they say, yeah, let's talk tomorrow at 3 o'clock, say, great, I happen to have some information here.
I would almost go back out to the car. Oh, let me go grab that. I wasn't intending to bring that in.
Yeah, I've done that before. You know, sometimes I really left it in the car. So that will work. I also said, again, I want to bring up patience.
What number are we on, Bill?
I think I'm on number 9. So if we want to go back, let me go back. I wrote down number 1 is preparation.
Good.
Number 2, I wrote down no research while prospecting. Number 3, have a pro mindset. Number 4, focus on the goal. The goal is to get an appointment and not telling them why they're wrong. Number 5, do previews so that you can meet people face to face. Number 6, demonstrate yourself at the preview. Demo your expertise. Let them know what you know about the market in general and or what you know about the neighborhood. Remember that also under number 6, I wrote down that subconsciously they're wondering whether you're honest, whether they can trust you, and if you're an expert at your field or expert in the neighborhood, expert in real estate. A lot of times we get too slick and close too hard. They may feel that you're an expert, but they don't trust you, and that's why you don't get the listing at times, or they don't want to move forward with you. Number 7, I didn't say this, that you want to drop I invented this term, I don't know if it's called a curiosity bomb. The curiosity bomb. What's that? Curiosity bomb. So you just go, you just throw them in the room. Now here's a curiosity bomb. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if it made financial sense to move your time frame up, would you consider it? And they go, well, right now we're really going to wait some up. Great. Well, when you're ready, I'd just like to share with you how we get 99.9% of the sale price when we list a home. Whew. We just dropped that in the room. Or how we sell 98% of our listings, and about 60% of our listings right now we're listed with someone else, and we've been successful selling 100% of it. So when you're ready, I notice you're not ready right now, so I just went, dropped it in the room, and then I'll call them back. They may say, well, gosh, that sounds interesting. We'd like to talk to you. But you got to leave some level of curiosity in the room so they want to work with you. If you just had a great conversation, if you met somebody and you liked their drapes and you had a great relationship with a dog, that's not going to get you a listing. Or their kids. And this is hard for the S's and the high I's. And you know who you are because I know some of you out there. So you're going to have to now be able to show them that you know something about real estate. And you want to have that rapport. Again, as I said, don't over-rapport. So number 7 was curiosity bomb. Number 8, I wrote down the script. If it makes financial sense to move your time frame up, would you consider it? Another way of putting it, if it makes financial sense to hire a real estate agent sooner than later, would you consider it? Depending. You could use that anywhere you can. And again, that's freestyling. You decide how you're going to throw that in. But you should have your pet lines that you say inside the house. Things that you know will help move the client further. Because remember, you're here with them and they're saying don't talk to me here. Your job is to move it up to here or here. Okay? They have their time frame. We're professional salespeople. We got to move that time frame up, and you got to give them some curiosity why there's a benefit to them to move their time frame up. All right. Next, I wrote down number 9. Patience. Patience. Here's a nice little quote that my coach many years gave me. He said, sell like a millionaire and you don't need the money. Sell like you're a millionaire, don't need the money. Because we all need money, and we all have this what we call commission breath, or this commission look that we need money really bad, and that's not going to help. All right, so if you sell like a millionaire, don't need the money, how would you behave? You'd be a lot calmer. You would probably ask better questions because you really don't need the money. Think about it. If you had $1 million cash in your bank account right now, how would you behave going to someone's home?
Well, you're motivated more to really sell the house, not just to get a commission. And that comes through in communication. Yeah, and I remember we were talking as coaches, we were talking about that show with Caesar, the dog whisperer guy. And we were asking, or someone had said, go watch one of the shows and see how that reaction with how he trains the dogs. And he said in that show that when you apply tension to the leash, the dog feels tension and starts to bark because you're giving it off. Well, guess what? We're giving off tension sometimes, and that gives tension to the consumer, and then they give us what? Objections. So if you sell like a millionaire and you're relaxed, they feel relaxed. You sometimes we are giving off stress. Your kids might have had a bad day with your kids, and now you're going to the appointment. I think that if this is showtime, guys, this is a $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 commission. If you don't feel up to it, reschedule. Reschedule. This is showtime. This is the Cirque du Soleil show. This is Broadway. And if you're not ready for the show, rebook it. Now, in Broadway and Cirque du Soleil, they get a replacement or they just perform at a high level. That's pro. When you're pro, you're ready to snap it back in and you're ready to hit it at a high level. So, patience is the key. That makes sense, Frank? Makes complete sense.
Okay, cool.
So, number 10?
Okay, number 10. The last thing I put down is just make sure that you are reviewing your own personal goals. And I wrote down here that if your goals don't tie into an emotion, it's harder to achieve the goals. And we talked about the book Switch. For those of you who've coached with me and who've seen me speak before, I've recommended to buy the book Switch, written by Dan and Don Heath, H-E-A-T-H. Okay, and this is a book about how you change behavior. And if you're having difficulty with prospecting, you're having a challenge with just keeping it consistent, there's a reason why that's happening. Is because you're in some type of pattern. So we got to break the pattern. The book Switch talks about how to do that from a individual and from a corporate side of it. So it's a fantastic book. It's really changed. Some of my clients just rave about the book because the goal, your desire to change a behavior is going to only be based on emotion in most cases. Think about as someone who's addicted to drugs or alcohol, that why does someone actually give it up? Because emotionally they're distraught. They finally say, I'm over with it. And some people don't. They just, they live with the addiction and the problem. They're in this limited pattern, which causes them to spiral down. Well, in sales, if we're not getting to our goals, we're in some type of limited behavior pattern that's limiting our success. And for you to finally say, you know what, I have one of my clients, and she may be listening right now, said to me, I want to go to Europe twice a year for 3 weeks. Can you coach me on my business to show me how to do that? Now, she was very emotional about that. So now everything she does all year long is about leaving to Europe twice a year or taking 2 great vacations for 3 weeks. She just got back from a 3-week vacation in Italy and came back to business.
That's great. Good for her.
Isn't that great? So think about it. When she writes in her goals, her first line of her goals, I want to go to Italy twice a year for 3 weeks, that stimulates a feeling. She could smell Italy. She could taste Italy. She remembers her experience, and that drives the goal for the rest of the year. But if we make it very logical, like I need to make $100,000 or I need to make $500,000.
The why. You have the big why.
It's kind of like the big why, but it's not the Mother Teresa big why. It's just a why, because the month, I want to solve world hunger. That could be a big why, but narrow it down.
Well, Bill, we got a whole bunch of questions.
Let's bring it on. Bring it on.
All right. Well, first off, Jim asked, hi, Frank and Bill, can we get a copy of this presentation? And yes, on this page here, once we're completed, this goes right to YouTube. Takes maybe 30 minutes to render, and then the recording will be right here available here on this page. All right. Thomas March asked earlier, I know it's off target or off topic, but what is your script, Bill, for initial buyer internet lead contact? How do you not come across as a salesperson to maybe a buyer lead that's way upstream on like a home search site? Okay, so they came off of an internet site, I guess, and you're internet buyer lead contact. Okay, I don't have it in front of me, but let me just give you the premise here. First of all, we're asking questions, and even saying to someone, we understand that you have several options in working with a buyer's agent, and we'd like to interview for the job of being that buyer's agent. First of all, let me get out of role play. We're looking for motivation. How soon are they looking to make a decision? I'm coaching a company right now that we've got to get away from being so structured in the questions, and it sounds like an interrogation. So we got to get away from the interrogation. So you're using words like, if it makes financial sense, ask the question. Another way of doing it is, out of curiosity, if you were to move, how soon would you be looking to move? Great. And repeating and affirming what they say. This is back to freestyling. So it's your tonality, again, having a large or wide bandwidth in your voice, not sounding monotone, and then being excited when you're supposed to be excited, and then closing them on the appointment to come in. And also, the other thing that I'm noticing, that we need to future pace the client. So it goes like this. So, John, when you do come in, here's what we like to do. We like for you to come in and interview us for the job of being your buyer's agent. When you come in, we're going to go over what we do. We're going to find out a little bit more about your needs and making sure that we can make that connection. I can tell you right now, if we feel we can't help you, we'll be the first to tell you that. Or if we feel that this is not realistic for the marketplace, we will tell you. And then, but we know right now you got to be very competitive to compete in today's marketplace, and that means you've got to be really ready to perform, because these houses are coming off the market really quickly. So is that something that you'd like to do? And then you're prefacing all these things that will happen to them before they happen to them. Now, and then at the end of the conversation, so if it makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that we're your buyer's agent, then we can move forward into developing a permanent relationship. Does that make sense? Great. Make them feel like they're in control. Yeah. Thomas, thanks for the question, buddy. Good to see you here.
Yeah.
Joshua McKnight asks, do you have a quick response to a contact over the phone? What are you going to do differently to market my home? How do you handle it on the phone when you're just trying to get the appointment? How far do you go into that? How do you handle that?
That's a great one. Now, here's the question back to you. Who's in control when that question is asked?
Well, hopefully them. Well, it's them because they're asking the questions.
Yeah. So remember, we want to have them be in control, but we don't want to. We want them to have obvious control, but we're still in control. So you know what I would say something like that. You know, that's a great question right now, and we'd like to show you this 21-point plan that we do that gets 98.9% of the sale price, if that's the case. Or I have a 21-point plan that has been very successful in selling 90% of our homes this year. You know, the other 10%, for some reason, they had to come off the marketplace. So is today and go right into the close. Is today or tomorrow convenient for me to come by? If you hesitate, you're giving them the opportunity to think about what else to say. So remember that a question freezes the mind of the person on the other side of the phone. They just froze your mind. They just took control of you, and you're going, what am I going to say?
So you just bring up your how many point plan, not really, but don't go into it.
No.
And say I have to deliver to you in person. I have to show you. I have to find out which points are applicable to your home.
Now here's what they also say. Well, why don't you just mail it to me? No, I like to, but it's more effective for me to sit down and explain things. That way I can answer the specific questions you have in case there's any concerns. And go right into the close again. Is today or tomorrow convenient for me to stop on by? Now remember, this is a mental battle. This is back to freestyling it. You're the pro. The mistake you could make is to give off all the stuff. Well, you know, I have 150 websites that I'm on, and I spend $10,000 every week on marketing your home. Now, what happens there? The next guy calls up. It's like my dog runs faster. Well, we have 200 websites, and we spend $30,000 a week. So you don't look different. Actually, you look just like the salespeople there. I would even take it away from this guy, depending on my mood that day. I would go, you know what? And this 21-point plan, I'm not really sure this will work for your home because we have to qualify your home to fit into this plan to get the success that we've been having on 98% of our homes. So is today or tomorrow convenient for me to come by to determine whether or not your house does qualify?
Good answer, Bill. Powerful answer. Good.
Yeah, it's just, it's exciting to know what to say, and I know sometimes we get stuck, but you know, I made those mistakes in the past. And you know, if they hang up on you, say no, just go to your next call. Because we got to make it a jerk-free zone in our business, sure. And if we end up going, if that person is like that over the phone, in most cases they're going to be like that later on.
Cool. A couple other questions. Can we get a list of the 10 things? Yes, they are in the recording, so Bill went through all of them, but we're also going to be summarizing and doing a little summary write-up of everything that was covered here, which we posted here in the comments as well as in the YouTube notes here shortly. So we got that covered. Viral client Bill, our Thomas March, quick question. I think everyone's wondering, you know, you look really good, Bill, and this is just a simple webcam. I mean, you really do. So why don't we just tell everybody, I believe you're using a Logitech C920 webcam.
This is it? Can you see that? I don't know what this Logitech, but let me tell you something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure which one you use.
Okay, this was right now, this camera right now is on sale at Office Depot.
Like 70 bucks.
Like 79 bucks, yeah. And the quality is unbelievable.
The Logitech C920, but the reason we don't ship that here at Viral for our clients is because you have to have a pretty powerful computer to run it. So you got a good computer bill, and then you have the Yeti microphone. That's about maybe 100 bucks. So you have a very nice microphone.
I don't know what is 125 bucks.
Yeah, you sound
Yeti
like
has some other. It has another smaller one. We used to. I did this when I did the radio blog. Remember years ago, you and I did the blog out in that. In the hotel lobby, and this is a USB mic, so it hooks right into your computer, and the quality of sound is amazing, and the different settings back here.
But I have to be very clear, is that you have to have a powerful computer to run that type of a webcam you're using, as well as the mic, so the sound matches the mouth. Exactly. And on top of that, you got two very nice lights. Why don't you pull your camera up and show everyone the lights?
Yeah, well, watch when it shuts off.
So you have professional lighting that's shining on you. That was about maybe 150, 200 bucks.
Yeah, so there's one.
There you go. Yep.
And there's the other. So and believe me, you guys, for doing video with Frank, this whole setup, you can go online at Amazon.com and get it for I don't know 200
for the yeah. It's a good deal. I just wanted to share it with everyone. Let's keep moving on so we stay on topic. Where can someone get example scripts? Like, will you be posting sample scripts? Where could someone get the full script for these conversations? Okay,
so the conversations or the scripts in itself?
The scripts themselves.
Okay, a couple of things. First of all, come out to my Power Prospecting Workshop. They're also online. You can go to different, I think with me, you go to my website, and The best way of doing this, let me just solve it real quick. Email me, and at billcrespo@verizon.net, and email me a couple of things. What scripts you would like to have. Email me whether or not you'd like to attend a power prospecting workshop and or a power scripts workshop, because depending on where you are, right now I'm looking to see how much interest we have on the West Coast. I'm getting a lot of calls on the West Coast, Frank, for me to come out there and do the power prospecting or power
here
scripts.
in San Diego.
So, yeah, Frank and I were talking about it. So if you're interested in me coming out to California, just let me know, because the more that I know that you need this help, I'm there. I told Frank I'll be out to California.
I just got to say, Bill, you know, it's one thing to hop on these trainings, but what you're missing is the behavior of the person that makes the calls. And when you're there in a group of people making the calls together, and then you have Bill coaching you on how to say, what to say, and he's like whispering in your ear as you're on the phone with somebody, that's what makes a successful sales team. And I couldn't highly more recommend what KW Maps puts on with you to go to your event and do it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and we will, you know, usually we have no more than 50 people max, because I got to do as much one-on-one with everybody while they're there, and really work with you on your scripts. Sometimes I'm writing scripts out for you specifically because you may have a lead source that's a little bit different. So I'll work with you on that. But the idea here in what I'm training on is how to take you to a pro level of selling, not the amateur. The amateur is very obvious in what they're doing. The pro level of selling is more consultative. There are some, let's say, psychological techniques or sales psych techniques that are really helpful. For the last 3 years, my coach, Ron Pertowski, is a behavior science coach, and he's been helping me on putting more content related to behavior science into my work. So I give him a lot of credit for helping me.
Studying the behavior of the person that actually gets up and makes those calls every day by shadowing somebody. I think it's fantastic. Another question, NATO asks, I believe he's asking about the contact information here. Can you talk about the best ways to get FSBOs or Expireds that you've used or are using? Not necessarily maybe the scripting, I would think, more about
where to find the numbers.
Where to find the numbers and who they are.
Yeah, that's a good question, Neil. The couple places. Obviously, LandVoice has a great system. You know, I've used LandVoice a long time. They used to be Warnox, and LandVoice has a great system of getting the FSBOs. Now, let me just say, these services are not, they're all going to have little quirks to them, so they're not going to be 100% perfect. They mine all these different sites and they pull down these for sale by owner leads. Driving around the neighborhoods that you know of, because some of them are not internet, that's important. I remember a very well-known agent that worked in our other coaching company before. He used to have the FedEx guy, the police officer, taxi drivers, anybody, UPS drivers, and said, listen, if you see these signs, please give them to me, because he knew these people that stopped by his house. So you get as many people out there looking for these signs and getting these phone numbers. Zillow Make Me Move. If you guys have not been on Zillow Make Me Move site, it's a different system. It's for a person who's deciding that they may consider moving, and they put their house on there, and all of a sudden they're testing the waters to see if anybody's going to make them move. So, you know, maybe I put my house up there for $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, and someone says I'm interested. They get to figure out their hits, but guess what? Those are almost pre-FSBO people. So Zillow Make Me Move, LandVoice. There's a couple others out there. ForSaleByOwner.com. If you have it, militaryforsalebyowner.com, rental for sale by owners, or for sale by rent, or for rent by owners is a good place for you to look, because these people may decide to rent next year or to sell next year. I have several clients right now that are doing a fantastic amount of business by calling these landlords that for a year they've been renting and they're coming up due right now and they want to sell. Or their lease doesn't come up till 2015 and they're banking all these names, and they said to the agent they do want to sell next year. So don't overlook that and get yourself teed up for 2015.
So NATO, I want to, thanks Bill, that's great. Yep. I want to hop in, and we have a lot of clients that ask the same questions. Maybe I can give a little add on to what you were saying there. Vulcan 7, the Red X, LandVoice are great sources for information. But then you may have to do a little more research when those leads come in, because it's just pulling kind of publicly available data. Is Pipl, P-I-P-L.com. Go type your name into P-I-P-L.com and look what comes up. It is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, Spokio, I think most of us know about Spokio. But on top of that, one of the things we have viral that our clients use is they hire someone overseas for fairly inexpensive, maybe between $5,000 and $8 an hour
right.
to do nothing but lead research. And if you go to elance.com, you can post a job saying, I'm looking for someone to research all these people and compile a spreadsheet of the full contact info. And you want to hire someone under mailing list development. It's called a lead researcher. And that way when you come in for your prospecting, like Bill said earlier, all of your information is there, all of your numbers, everything's been gathered for you already, and now you can start making your calls.
Perfect. Just a quick tip, I just found out of something for you, and I know this is a big issue with agents developing teams. ZipRecruiter, I had a great success with a call today. She's on.
We use ZipRecruiter here too.
It's great.
It's great. What that's for, by the way, if anyone's looking to hire someone on their team, write yourself a job description. There's a whole bunch of information on that. It's another topic, Bill. But you're looking for a prospector, or you're looking for a buyer's agent, listing agent, someone to work on your team, admin. ZipRecruiter.com is like $120 a month, but they will take your job post and post it on all the job sites.
Incredible.
And then when people apply, they go to one central portal, so you can funnel them through, which is pretty great. And I highly recommend the Keller Williams Recruit Select class to learn how to hire somebody. That's a whole other thing. So Keller Williams Recruit Select, that's how to recruit and select someone for your team, and it teaches you exactly how to do that. Highly recommended. Bill, another question. This is not so much on the scripting topic, but I think it's good. You have phone calling, which is the foundation of getting the appointment, but maybe you can back that up with some marketing. And the question is there a good postcard recommended to send to FSBO and Expireds to get them to call you? Is there a messaging on that you found that works, that complements the phone calls, but does not replace it?
I don't know if I know that answer, but I can tell you what somebody's done. I mean, they've done a lot. If you have a buyer in a particular neighborhood that's interested, sending those letters out that I have a buyer has worked. The just listed cards sent out to neighborhoods that you're breaking into, just listed, and then you back them up with a phone call. Hi, we just listed a house for sale on so-and-so street. That helps. Remember that we've got to know that as you blanket market into a neighborhood, you're going to be hitting a listing that's listed with someone else. When you are blanketly marketing to territories, you're okay based on NAR's ethics standards that you're able to do that, but you're demonstrating yourself on how effective you are in getting a listing. Open houses have been completely different right now than years ago. It's the people that are doing open houses are doing highly effective, and as we say in KW Maps, the 7th level open house, don't do anything less than a 5-level open house, but it's getting traffic. It's also demonstrating the fact that you're aggressive in that marketplace. So I think that needs to be a standard approach, but the inexpensive way is calling. I mean, that's the cheapest way. I wasn't much on mailing because you only get less than 0.5%.
I think it's even more what she's asking is just if you have an expired or a FSBO and you want to mail them something.
Got it.
Is there anything specific you send? And for what it's worth is here's all of the homes that were expired that I took the listing and I sold for what percentage of their list price. And if you haven't sold any expireds, it's all the ones that have been sold in your office by other agents.
Yeah, right.
Than that.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's go back. That we talk about the 8x8, that there should be a separate 8x8 for an expired and a separate 8x8 for a FSBO, because that's basically 8 weeks that you are blitzing that particular person on information about their neighborhood or how you could help them. And just like the commercials on television right now, is they'll blitz for a certain amount and they'll back out the commercial. Well, you're blitzing for 8 weeks, and in those 8 weeks, there should be at least 3 live conversations from you or calls from you, or visits from you, and making those. And you know what? They're going to see it and they're going to throw it away. But what Frank said, if you have great stats, you need to share your stats, because I think we're not sharing our
examples of results and success stories and clients and
exactly.
Proof of results. I would definitely go. Not so much here's what I plan on doing or to that nature.
Yeah, I mean, some of the statements are what I call the so what statements. Everybody has the same one, but if you have stats, and what's really interesting, if you have listed expireds that you have sold, you need to make sure in big letters, John and Susan Smith was with X company, sold with me in 15 days. Another one, and let them see it, and if you get permission from those people that you can use them as a reference, put their phone number down. I mean, when they can see that other people, remember, one of the aspects of influence is social proof. Social proof is one of the 6 levels of persuasion. So when someone sees someone else that were in their same situation that had success with you, that's social proof. So it will work.
I think let's take the last 5 minutes here, and we actually have the question here from Kenneth. How can I get more information on the Power Scripts or the Power Prospecting class? So why don't we take the last 5 minutes here, Bill, and for everyone who's listening, they need to get involved with this to start getting better on the phones. Why don't you fully explain us in detail with the last 5 minutes of what you do at a Power Prospecting workshop and the benefits of attending?
Good. So thanks, first of all, guys, for inquiring about that. Power Prospecting I wrote this to help us to get better in communicating over the phone and being more effective. I mean, I've been in sales since I've been 22, so it's 30-some years, 35, 36 years in sales. So what I brought into this is an approach to selling. So we're going to spend 2 days, half the time in the classroom developing techniques on how to communicate better. The other half of that day, you're on the phone making phone calls, and I'm coaching you one-on-one, listening to how you actually prospect, and we're going to track our numbers. We're going to start to see as a group. It's amazing, Frank, the number of, when you're in a group and you're prospecting, the ratio is running about 5 to 6 appointments per person for the 2 days. And if you have 30 people in the room, do the math. And if 50% of them turn into something, and only half of those turn into money, it's a lot of money. So we're going to teach you good habits for 2 days. You're going to ask a lot of great questions. We're going to be role-playing some scripts. And this is actually great for any type of position, and whether you're a buyer's agent or a listing agent or just the rainmaker itself. And again, as I said, I have one coming up in McLean October 6th and 7th, and I have one in Frisco, Texas coming up October 20th and 21st. If you want me to combine to your market to do it, what I'm also doing, Frank, this is very interesting, I'm looking for lead people in markets that will want to take on the position of actually helping me set it up in their state or in their market center or in their city. Doesn't have to be in a market center. If we have enough people, we'll just get a hotel room and do it. So if you're interested in being that key person, they get to go in free.
Great. Okay. I just added here under the showcase, by the way, a link for everybody. It should show up on your screen under the showcase where they can click and be able to go purchase a ticket and get involved of where to go online. And if you don't see it, just Google KW Maps Power Prospecting, and it's the very first result on Google. That's actually what I grabbed and put here on the label for you.
Frank, any questions on that if it doesn't come up? Sometimes some of them are private functions that are held at market centers, so you have to go directly to them for the registration. So just email me, billcrespo@verizon.net. Now, Power Scripts, a little bit different, 2 days of just presentation skills. You role-playing the scripts. We'll have live demonstrations on listing presentations, live demonstrations on buyer presentations. You're going to be role-playing. All the nuances of freestyling, like we said, are all going to be done in those 2 days. So it's not prospecting on the phone where I'm coaching. This is a little bit different, larger group of people, and a lot of great information. So if you're interested in either one of those or both, make sure that you're emailing me, and then I can set up with you a contact, and we can start setting up the dates and stuff. Right now, we're getting booked up here for the fall right now, and we're working on next year.
Great, wonderful.
Okay.
Well, everyone, thank you very much for your time. Bill, we're going to be doing more of these.
Yep.
Why don't you tell them it's the same date and time every month, right?
Yeah, we're going to do once a month here on the second Wednesday of the month from 11:30 to 12:30. Right?
11:30 Eastern.
Eastern Standard Time.
What's the topic for? So 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific. Every month, same Wednesday, time month.
Exactly.
What is going to be the next topic? What do you think?
The next topic I wrote down is having professional influence or pro influence, the secret to a close. So I want to go over the techniques of having influence on people, which is this kind of stealth way of getting people to close themselves. And so we're going to talk about all those techniques of having influence with people and how effective that could be. One of the books I suggest you reading maybe before we talk to each other next time is the book Influence, Science, and Practice. And it's been a fantastic book to understand how avoiding these little objections over the phone with people has a lot to do with the fact that you have no influence on people. So our goal as salespeople is to have high influence, and we'll talk about that next time.
Great. Well, thanks everyone for attending, and Bill, great job as always. Appreciate your
Thanks,
knowledge.
guys. Appreciate it. Thanks, Frank. Bye-bye.